And we are back here with another video today. Today we are looking over the Baylor Bears. So a big shout out to Scotty B, who I'm sure will be in the comment section below. Big Baylor fan. If you want to check him out, his channel I'm sure will be in the comments. But either way, Baylor a big break or a big break or make type of year for Dave Aranda. Aranda has been the head coach for the last few years now, had the highest of heights at the very beginning with the Sugar Bowl victory, and then now has just it's just dwindled off since 2022. The last time they were ranked was week 5 of 2022. They have not really had any production. It's just not worked. I don't know what's going on as issues wise, but it just really has not worked for Baylor. So this is a big year. This is probably the year that if Aranda doesn't get 7, 8, 9 wins, he probably gets fired. If you're a Baylor fan, let me know what your comments are in the let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. But let's get into today's video. Also, make sure you check out. It will be up here, I believe. But make sure you check out the playlist for all of my college football predictions. So I have right now a few of them in there: Michigan, Notre Dame, Virginia Tech. But there will be more as we go on throughout the summertime, getting into college football. Let's start to look at this program. One of the biggest names, one of the biggest points here is the transferring of DJ Lagaway into the program. And that's honestly, I think that the biggest point of celebration for this Baylor team, because not a great recruiting class, number 60 overall, really struggled, dropped from 4th to 12th in the Big 12. So honestly, it's probably starting to see some players unsure of whether Dave Aranda is going to stay at the program, whether he can, stuff like that. That could be an interesting factor. But the top guy they signed was Rylan Morris. He was an in-state commit out of Honey Grove and a running back. You lost the running back from last year. The big guy, Bryce Washington, transferred over to Auburn. So going to be a pretty important season to see what happens there. But primarily, you have Dawson Pendergrass, the junior, the redshirt junior, I should say, who had 671 rushing yards, 5.5 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns, and over 100 yards of receiving, along with another touchdown, another receiving touchdown to add along with. So 7 touchdowns total. I'm really interested to see where Pendergrass is between him and Lagway. It could be very interesting. But before we get too far into the video, it's time we pull up the Baylor Bears schedule and get into that more specifically, because it doesn't matter what it looks like for Lagway or for Pendergrass, NFL wise, if they are unable to get some wins on the field. But we get into it here. Home game against Auburn last year was a tough draw. Had the loss at Auburn last year. That was a big issue. And that's kind of what kind of set the tone for the season, the 38-24 loss at Waco. This one is a neutral site game at Mercedes-Benz. I'm guessing it's then, I guess, a home game for Auburn. But either way, it's going to be a game at Mercedes-Benz. New coaching staff for Auburn. It could be very interesting to see what Auburn looks like. The continuity for Baylor is going to probably be particularly important in this game. But Baylor, you have a new quarterback. Alex Golish may be taking over an Auburn program, but at the same time, you have a lot of new pieces there in Waco. But after thinking it through, after looking it through, I am going to give the win to Baylor. I'm going to give the slight edge to Aranda, because this is kind of make or break. If he doesn't win here, he's going to find himself in massive trouble. Win there. Then you have a home game. Your opening home game against Prairie View A&M. No problems there. Automatic win. No issues there. Then you got Louisiana Tech. That could be a very interesting game to see how they play against Louisiana Tech. But to be frankly honest, I think that this Louisiana Tech team is nowhere near the Baylor level. And I think we could start to see some buzz here from Lagaway if he's really starting to improve, to find his groove, I guess, what one may say. If he can start to find his groove, a Louisiana Tech team that's not bad. They're not bad at all, honestly. They were 8-5 last season. Got a win against Coastal Carolina in the bowl game and the Independence Bowl. But I think that that could be a very interesting thing for them there, the team that is there. But either way, I think I'm going to give them a win there, give the benefit of the doubt to Baylor. Then you got a home game against Colorado. I don't know what Colorado team shows up. I don't know whether it is the glitz and glamour um, of 2025 or whether it's the team of 2024 and they're much better and they're improved. Um, so I'm going to go with Baylor in this prediction. I just don't trust Deion Sanders right now. I think it will be an improvement on last year. I think he very well could get some improvement, but right now I'm going to give the edge to Baylor. I think that they're just the better team when it comes down to it. So I'm going to give the edge to Baylor, but please don't prove me wrong here, Baylor. You're going to make me look bad. But at the same time, you never know. You have Juju Lewis, and I think Salter is now gone from Colorado, if I remember correctly. I have not looked into Colorado yet, so I could be wrong about that. So if I am, I apologize for that. I'm going to double check it. But that brings us into the next game. Baylor has, I believe, a bye week. Yep. Or no, I'm sorry. Bye week's the week after, but they have a road game against Arizona State. And this is where I think they get their first loss of the season. Kenny Dillingham doing a great job there at Arizona State so far, has found himself in a great position. And I think that that is going to really improve where he is at recruiting wise, where he's at overall. I think that that could really play a big factor into a lot of this. So I am going to give that edge to Arizona State, even though you don't have Sam Levitt. You don't have a lot of the key pieces that were contributing to previous teams. But at the same time, I do think that you do have some players that can make plays. Julian Lewis is the starting quarterback, the redshirt freshman at Colorado. So just had to double check that, but do have a lot of changes as well, and that's gonna play a pretty big factor, to be completely honest with you guys. So that leads us into the next game. A game that are a bye week and then a game against TCU. And this is kind of where the schedule, I think, is going to kind of be make or break. It's a home game against TCU against a rival program. And I think that it is going to start to fall downhill from here. I think that you get a loss against TCU. I think that Sonny Dykes is just a better coach than Aranda is. No hate against Baylor. Tough game at TCU last year, a 6-point loss. Really close game, honestly. It was an exciting one. I'm trying to, as I start to remember it, but I think it is going to be a loss. So I'm going to have a loss for them there. Then they head to Lawrence, Kansas to play Kansas, obviously. Again, I think that this is going to be a tough game, but I am going to give the edge to Baylor because I just don't know where Kansas is at. I don't know how well of a team they're going to be going into the season. So I'm going to give them the win. So right now I have them at 5 wins and 2 losses, but then they head on the road to UCF with a very interesting program. At least in terms of where it's at in the college football landscape now. That could be very interesting. Scott Frost now back at UCF after Gus Malzahn's retiring or resignation. So I'm going to give the edge to UCF. I like to see where the Knights are going. We'll see where that happens. Then you got a home game against Iowa State. I think that this is a win in the column, clinches bowl eligibility for the Bears. But this is where the problem comes. A 3-game stretch at BYU, home game against Texas Tech, and then a road game against the Houston Cougars. So sorry. But when it comes down to it, you got a road game against BYU. BYU, I just think, is a better team. I think that they're just better overall. Talent-wise, coaching-wise, Kalani Sitake has done a fantastic job at BYU. And I just don't know where the production is going to come from because I don't know how much I trust DJ Lagway. This opinion may change as I start to hear more reports out of him out of Baylor, but we'll see. Then you have a home game against Texas Tech. Texas Tech ain't going nowhere. They bring in Brandon Sorsby, the transfer from Cincinnati. So I think that is going to be an easy win for the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Then the final game of the season, a road game against Houston. And Houston, I think, is going to be competing for a top spot in possibly a Big 12 championship, maybe a New Year's Six Bowl, or I'm sorry, not a New Year's Six Bowl, a college football playoff appearance, which would be a New Year's Six Bowl either way. So I think that they're competing for a college football playoff spot. So I'm going to lean with Houston. I just think that their situation right now in Houston, just a better situation. So I have Baylor at 6-6. Let me know whether you think that is going to end up in a firing for Dave Aranda. You never know. We'll see. 6-6 is my final prediction. Hit one of the two videos down below. One will be the podcast of all of the videos as well. And then one will be a video suggested by YouTube, as well as hit the subscribe button up here. Make sure you help me hit that goal of 7,000 subscribers. Make sure you like the video down below, comment your thoughts and opinions. And as always, have a great rest of your day. Bye.